Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. What's up, everybody? We back for the next part of the tutorial series. And the next part of the series that I said I wanted to do was I wanted to show our player's health. And that's the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and set that up. Whenever he gets damaged like this and he's blinking, hearts pop up above his head. Because we don't want our UI set up to where it's like single player and it's taking up areas on the screen because it'll just be congested. Or at least I don't want it for my game. Maybe you'll find a use for it in your game. So let's go ahead and do this. We're going to go ahead and go to our My PP folder. I'm going to create a new folder and I'm going to rearrange all of this once we get near the end and I can start trimming stuff out. We're going to call this UI. UI meaning user interface. We're going to create a new user interface class. And then we need a widget blueprint. Widget, select, then hearts, widget. So the next thing we're going to need is we're going to have to add images for our hearts. Like I have a basic image editing software that allowed me to create these two images for my hearts. One where he's damaged and one where he's not damaged, like one is hollow. I've imported just then and use whatever software, whatever image you have available. And now what we're going to need to do is select both of these and sprite actions, apply paper 2D texture settings. This will make the background apply transparency to it. And now we'll open our widget, drag that over here. And the one thing we'll need, or I'll use, you don't necessarily need it, is a size box. And we need also change this from fill screen to desired. We want desired. We don't want it to fill the screen. Then we'll need a horizontal box. And now we'll need our images. Change this to heart 1 or heart 1. And yes, this has to be a variable because we're going to be changing it. We're going to change our image to the heart that is full. And we're going to leave that like it is. We're going to duplicate this. Control D. That was heart 2. Duplicate it one more time. Duplicate. All right, now we're going to name that one heart 3. And all of these need to be variables. The whole entire widget. We need to select this whole root of the widget. And then visibility. And then select hidden. Because we don't want it to show right away. We only want it to show when the player is hit. Let's minimize that. Now we're going to go ahead and add it to our character. So we're going to go to my characters, character, open up our character. So what we're going to do is in the viewport, we're going to add a widget right here directly. So widget component, widget, hearts, widget. And we're going to need to go here and select screen space. We don't want world space. We want it to always face towards the player. Screen space. We're going to check draw at desired size. And we need to widget class. There we go. Change that to our hearts widget. I'll save. You won't see it in the editor, but you'll see it in game. And right above his head like that. Now, event graph, we're going to go back and we're going to actually add it to the game. We're going to go to our event begin play. We're going to get our heart widget. We're going to need to get widget. We're going to need to cast to heart widget right here. And let's set it as a ref. We'll leave it as hearts widget. I like it. So now let's compile and save. We'll play our game. And boom. Can't see it because we set it to hidden. So for now, we're going to switch it back to where we can see it. Set it to visible. And now let's show it again. Shaa Allah, you see our heart. All right, now let's set up the functionality of it. Let's turn it back to hidden. Save. And we're going to create a function. We're going to call it custom event. And take damage. I thought about doing it all as one function, like to where if any changes to the hearts happen, it goes and it checks. But I felt like it would get confusing and I'd have to really do a branch check if it's going up or it's going down, and sometimes it need to be called both. So for now, we're gonna leave it as we're gonna make two separate ones where we have one where it takes damage, and then one when you replenish your health, the hearts go up. Possibly they could all be in one, but I feel like it can get congested. But we'll come back to it. Now, what we need to do is we need to add the input, current health. So we're going to now switch based off that integer, because depending on what number we have, we want to show those amount of hearts. We're going to need 0, 1, 2, I'm thinking if we need a third, if it's just start at 3 or start at 1. Well, if it's 0, we can go ahead and work off of 0. And we'll add 3. Because 3 is the max amount we can have. So now we need to get our hearts as references. Get heart. Get heart. And get. So now what we're going to do is make an array. Boom, boom. So now what we're going to do is, if it's 0, that means we have no health left. There's no more health. Set brush from texture. There we go. Set brush from texture. So for each of those, we need to change it to the empty heart. I don't have to worry about that because I made my hearts the same exact image and I hollowed them out. I was just seeing if I needed to match the size. So boom, that's done for that. Now, if there's just one part left, we need to do this, these two. Make another array, but we just need hearts 2 and 3 for each. Loop. We're going to duplicate this because we need this again. This again. Loop body. Target is array element. And then we'll change each one to heart damage. And then if you have 2 hearts left, we need to only do it for this heart. So now let's duplicate this. Boom. Like that. We just need heart 3 for there. And we didn't need number 3. That's why I was debating. There shouldn't be a time where you take damage and you still have all 3 hearts. There shouldn't be a time where that happens. But yeah, because if it does happen, then we aren't changing anything. That means it needs to stay visible. So I'm going to remove 3. But we do need this default pin. Because if for whatever reason our health goes below 0, which is a possibility, this will actually break and it won't work anymore. So for the default, we're just going to run it to where it's 0. If it goes below 0, it won't just completely stop working entirely and then the game is messed up. And also if it goes above 2 for whatever reason, it just defaults to getting rid of all the hearts. Which shouldn't never happen because we're going to connect it to our damage. But if we ever add more health, then we just add more health or add more hearts. We would obviously add more hearts here and then add more areas to our switch in. First thing we need to do, forgot about this, is set visibility to visible so the player can see it. And then at the end of all this, we're going to do a retriggerable delay. The reason why we're doing retriggerable is if for whatever reason our health is changed multiple times, it won't run it. And then when the time runs out, switches it, and then it's running it again. So we want a retriggerable delay to where it resets the timer, make them invisible again. Because we don't want it to go 3 seconds. Let's say 3 seconds, and then it's counting down to 1.5. Then this gets ran again, and then it's still counting from 1.5, and then it sets it invisible. But then now it started again from 3 seconds. So then it'll run it multiple times. We want retriggerable because if it runs again, it's going to restart the timer from the beginning. I believe the time we use in our Aki character for this blinking was 3 seconds. So we're going to do 4, just a little bit longer than how we blink. And another thing I forgot about is we want to set the opacity for this horizontal box. We're doing it for the horizontal box because it'll propagate to all the children. So I want to change the render opacity to about 0.75. That way it's a little bit see-through so it doesn't completely take up everything on the screen. So now that should work. So whenever we get damaged, we now want to call this. From here at event any damage, we're going to get our heart widget reference. And then we're going to call our take damage function. Slide all this bit. And then we're going to connect our player health. After our retriggerable delay, I forgot to set it back to invisible or hidden. Set visibility. Set that to hidden. File save. And now let's go ahead and test this out. So now let's get hit. Walk out of this danger. The 4 seconds. Shaa Allah. And if we get hit twice. Oh no, I can't. But either way, it wouldn't stick around still. It wouldn't re-trigger and go away. So alhamdulillah, we got that knocked out. That is the end of this tutorial. I'm gonna try to get them knocked out faster. I'm gonna see if I can get some help editing. But the next tutorial series I want to do is I want to start adding our attack function. Because that's what my stepson was asking me about too. And I want to go ahead and get at it. That's what we'll be doing in the next episode. Appreciate y'all checking in. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.